Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 29.
30.
No, this is 29.
It's 30.
Isn't it? How much?
It's 30 on the 30th. That's how I remember.
I don't remember. It says 29 on the
You got to
bottom.
use those little tricks to remember.
I don't know. All I know is we just keep going and going and going.
And going and going.
So welcome back into town, my friend.
Yes.
Heard you had a little excursion.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back in Maryland at a little slower pace.
Sort of like
It was my first trip to the Big Apple, New York City.
New York City.
It was fun, man. It was fast paced, and I was there for 2 days, and a lot of fun. I'm glad to be back. I want to give a quick shout out to who else? Let's see here. Rachel and Kara and Lizzie and all you guys at the Haunted Hospital production team. Thank you for everything. Looking forward to seeing the episode.
Very much so, man.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
And I want to give a quick hello to a friend I met along the way there, Jamie, who's also going to be on Haunted Hospitals.
Nice. And I know that we had a birthday that just passed.
Yeah, Wednesday, our dear friend Sherry DeBenedetti from the original Ghost Hunters and Ghost Nation celebrated her birthday on Wednesday. So happy birthday, Sherry. We love you. Hope to see you soon and hope you had a great birthday.
Well, there is two very special guests with us today.
Ernie and Dave.
Hi. Hey, I see them giggling in the green room right now. So I am very proud to announce these guests.
Oh, man, these aren't just amazing
royalty
guests.
Yep.
These are really good friends of ours that we've been wanting to have on for quite some time.
Yep.
And I was fortunate enough a few weeks ago when I was in Gettysburg, we got to hang out and snap some photos and eat some food and have a good time, as we always do when we're all together. So without further ado,
Jack Kenna and Carly Hall. Hi,
Jack.
Jack.
Royalty. What, you having the Queen on tonight or what?
No, see, you do like
Queen is right there. That's where she is. She's right there.
See, I gave her a little spot at the bottom here, you know.
Yeah.
she's got 3/4 of the screen there.
Right, she does. That's good. She deserves it.
Spoil me.
So what's going on, guys? How you been?
I don't know. I'm surprised you survived New York City.
Jack? Well, I ain't gonna tell you, but
I live in New York and I don't go to New York City. Yeah,
you know, I'm very monotone and somewhat dry, and I'm like one pace. And you know, I got driving in New York City for the first time in my life, and holy crap, man! And
you don't drive in New York City.
No, you don't drive. That's the number one rule.
I'm riding through Manhattan, and I have my Bluetooth on, and I'm listening to my directions.
Yeah.
And one of the producers is calling me. So I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to take this call. So I look and see that I'm like a half a mile to my next turn. Yeah. So I accept the phone call, and I'm like, real fast. I'm like, what's up? What do you need? And she's like, I'm like, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back when I check in. I'm in traffic.
I'm
lost.
I'm lost in the city. Yeah.
Thank God for GPS systems, though, man.
Yeah.
Once I got into New York, it was right turn, left turn, keep straight, left turn, right turn, and I would have never found it, man. I'd still be riding around there lost.
We had a case in Brooklyn that was bad enough.
Oh Lord Almighty!
Wow.
I was like, next time we have a case here, we're taking the train.
I grew up every summer at 120 Central Park South, East Manhattan.
Oh,
so I'm very familiar with New York. My grandfather was the head super there.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Oh,
at least
God.
you knew the city. My father used to spend a lot of time down there. He was a railroader. He worked on the railroad. So he was always down there, and I went we went a few times as kids, but the
Dave-
city's not my kind of place. It's not my pace. No.
Dave, you should have gone with him and been his navigator.
I wanted to, but because of work and everything that's going on here, we would see. I know a place that serves this pizza that the slices are like this big.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I ate a whole one and actually got my picture up on a wall.
Yeah.
And literally the whole pie, I think, is 32 inches round. I mean, it's like that round.
They're huge. They're huge. Yeah.
And so I went there about 5 years ago, and I remembered the walk when I was a kid. Can't tell you the address, but I remember where to go to walk. And I walked in, and I saw my picture on the wall with my grandfather there. And I stopped and looked at it. And he goes, those are neat pictures. Those are people who have eaten. And I'm like, yeah, that's me as a kid. And he went, Dave? And I looked at him. I'm like, Mikey? We're both grown up.
Oh my God, he remembered. Yeah, he remembered. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool when that
awesome.
stuff happens. That
I
is
was
pretty
the youngest kid to ever eat that pie, and the record still holds.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's something to be proud of.
Imagine. You imagine? Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That is something to be proud of. Yeah, that's what the family did for us. They went out and got us pizza, New York pizza, just down. We all, had dinner that night and stuff. So it was pretty cool. They're good. They're nice family.
Brother.
And it was one of those Italian families that bought four different pies and then a bunch of dessert.
Oh my God.
And they were like, here, eat. And you're like, I literally cannot fit anything into my stomach. And they're like, eat.
Eat more.
We definitely brought home leftovers,
Yeah.
but that's
And
the
it was a
best
good investigation too. They just had family members still hanging out there. It was just freaking them out a little bit because they were renovating the third floor and stuff like that. So, but nothing bad. Nothing bad there.
Hey, Carly, back to real quick the comment you made. Why didn't Dave go to navigate for me?
Yeah.
Can you imagine driving through Manhattan in rush hour traffic with this maniac sitting next to me talking?
Left!
I would just let him drive at that point, Ernie. Just drive.
Hey, Ernie, turn left. Oh, wait, that way.
Just let him drive.
One night, I'll never forget this, man. I know it's a little paranormal related. Dave and I were hosting a seminar and an investigation in Pennsylvania. So I think it was on a Friday. So we were stuck in a little bit of rush hour traffic on 695, headed up the road. And man, we got rear-ended by some young girl behind us not paying attention en route to this event.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, I'll never forget.
And
that was a hit and run.
And my instinct was to floor it, and I'm like chasing down, heading towards up 695 going to 83. And Ernie's like, Dave, you're not a cop anymore. I'm like, oh crap.
I was like,
you can't chase him anymore. Yeah.
What freaking luck we had. You know what I mean? But everything worked out. We were a little bit sore the next day, but what the hell,
The investigation that night was good, though. Remember?
Yeah, I guess because we were all we were all nerved up from getting rear-ended.
After that, it's just all downhill.
Yeah, I'm just dying to be there,
Ghosts can't scare you after that. Look, you can't scare me. I've been rear-ended today. I don't want to hear it.
That's as exciting as it gets.
I am more afraid of real people than I am of ghosts. For real.
Oh, absolutely.
I hear you.
Except when they hit walls, I almost break his nose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yes, I don't know if you got to catch it, man, but yesterday there was a pretty hot marathon on the Travel Channel.
I don't watch them.
That was on Friday.
Friday, today's Sunday.
Yeah.
I watch some of the shows. I don't watch my own.
No.
No. I watched them once.
Before the started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I watched them once when they first came on just to see how they made me look. After that, I kind of really don't. It's kind of weird watching yourself. It really is. It's kind of weird. But what you were going to say, though, I interrupted you. You were going to say, though. So there's a marathon.
Well, you kind of blew it by saying I don't watch it.
I assume I was on it. Maybe I wasn't on it. It was
you were on it.
I don't know.
You were on it because when I came home from work Friday morning before I went to bed, I I watched a little bit of it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Cool.
But I know. Like when I got back from New York and people were messaging me and this and that about the filming, I was like, they're like, were you scared? And I'm like, nah, I wasn't scared. I was like, it was a little intimidating at first, but my biggest fear is that I'm going to look like an absolute dork on television, and it's nothing.
On television.
Unless I run around the neighborhood.
In real life, it doesn't matter. It matters if you look like a dork on TV, though.
It has nothing to do with this show, but
it's true though. That's about what you think about. Is how am I going to look on this show? Because there is some certain things you got to be careful what you say because they can edit shit together.
Yeah, they probably patched together a few little bloopers.
They do. Yeah. So you got to be careful what you say. Don't pick your nose. Don't. Things like that. No, they always do it. They always do a good job on those shows, though. That was you did Haunted Hospitals, right? So that's BGM, right? Bristol Global Media.
Yes.
Yeah. They're good. They're good people.
They were actually, man. I was so well taken care of, and they made everything just so easy. And I mean, me, I'm always, no matter what, whether we're doing an event or I'm going on a vacation or I'm going somewhere overnight, I always anticipate something to go wrong or cause me stress.
Right.
And I can honestly say, other than, and even the driving wasn't really that bad. I was really joking about it, but they just made everything just smooth as could be, man. It was like, I couldn't believe how just everything just worked out and how friendly and everything that all the the production people were, and it was such a good time.
Did you mess with them at all?
No, I was.
I do every time.
You know what though, Jack?
Just to make them laugh.
Dave and I try to keep our radio podcast somewhat serious, but we always wind up somehow. It's just our personalities throwing the jokes at each other.
Yeah.
And I did at one point find myself when I was being filmed up there, like throwing in a joke every now and then. So I'm sure they cut it out, but
they do. You gotta know when to do it, when to kind of cut it off. But I always like in the morning when I go in just to mess with their heads, I'd be like, well, where's my latte? Where is it? Why don't you guys don't have the latte? I don't want coffee. I want my latte. They'd be looking at you like they think you're serious, and I'm like, screw with you.
To tell you how bad we get,
make them think you're a diva.
We were doing a show or an event at Haldeman Mansion years ago. Mike King was there, and I actually had my ringtone set in a very specific manner, and he actually off camera, just as we were starting this up, called me on it, and my ringtone was this girl screaming bloody murder. And as I'm talking, it just starts screaming, and the guests were like, oh my god. I mean, that's my kind of
that's like my Facebook Messenger is that little girl going hello.
She goes hello, really creepy.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
In the middle of an investigation in the pitch dark, and my phone's in my pocket, and I don't put vibrate on because my phone is old and the vibrate don't work no more. So like in the middle of like some sort of session or EVP work, and you hear hello, and everybody jumps or screams.
We've had people run out on investigations before just because of that. It's funny.
Oh, that is good. That is good.
So you gotta have some fun in life,
Yeah, you do. And sometimes you got to answer when they're asking you your questions on these shows. You got to answer seriously.
Yeah.
So I had one where the director was saying, "So Jack, what's the term for when somebody hears voices that other people don't?" And I said, "Schizophrenia." Everybody started laughing except the director. She's like, "Wait, no, that's not what I meant." I said, "That's what it is." That's what it is. You're hearing voices other people don't. You're schizophrenic.
You should have just, as the conversation progressed, and been like, shh.
Hear that?
You hear that?
Oh, we did stuff like that. We would do stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
Stop talking.
Yeah, exactly. We would mess with them. We'd have fun.
Yeah, you gotta have some fun with it.
Yeah. It's all good.
So
Carly, tell the truth about yours when she did her show.
Oh.
Tell them the truth about how what condition you were in when you actually did your show.
So here's a legitimate Carly.
He's putting you on the. He's putting you on.
I know.
Well, she hasn't said much, so I got to get her to talk.
So this is a real, true, honest to God Carly moment, because there are times when I literally can convince myself the complete opposite of reality. So it was the night before the show. I was feeling a little nervous, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna have a small drink, and just be able to go to bed, because my anxiety can get bad. So I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. And so I had some peppermint schnapps in the cabinet, and I wanted to have some of the peppermint schnapps with the chocolate syrup. It literally tastes like Christmas in a cup. It is so good. And so I had told myself that you would drink it in cups.
In a cup.
Not shots.
Yes, that size.
So there is a picture of me holding a bottle, like the big jugs of peppermint schnapps, and chocolate syrup in one arm, and my cup of it in the other hand. I don't remember that picture being taken.
Oh my God.
I was so hungover the next morning. During the TV show, so I look like I was emotionally distraught and totally traumatized, but I was just really hungover. So I've had to deal with my haunting for so long that it doesn't really affect me emotionally anymore. So it just really honestly helped the interview, but I was just actually severely hungover. Like, I had a muffin that morning, and I was like trying not to puke on camera.
So if you ever watch her episode again, look that in a new light.
Wait a minute, man! I can't stop giggling. You had me at Christmas.
Christmas in a cup.
Christmas in a cup.
It's beginning to look a lot like
it does. We still have the same peppermint schnapps in a cabinet hidden behind everything, because I literally cannot stand to look at the thing.
It brings back some good memories.
And so, before I went to bed, I called Jack. I don't remember this conversation, but I ended up having a whole conversation on the phone with Jack, and he was like, "You need to go to bed. Like, what? Are you drunk?"
And she's like, "I was just drinking some peppermint schnapps." And I'm like, "How many did you have?" "Just two." "Two what? 2 cups?" "Cups? What kind of cups, Carly?" "Yeah, the big red ones." I'm like, "Did you finish the second one?" "No, about halfway." "Throw it out. Throw it out and go to bed."
Cut it off.
Throw it out and just go to bed.
Carly, go drunk. You're home. Seriously,
you're home.
And my oh gosh, so my alcohol tolerance is so low. Like that. Oh God. I got done with the one. I remember my last thought was I got done with the first cup, and I was on to the second, and it started to hit me, and I was like, "Oh shit." That's the last thing I remember. Oh no! What did I do?
Well, I gotta honestly, I've never heard of. I mean, I'm not a drinker, but I've never heard of chocolate syrup in alcohol.
Peppermint schnapps. It's gotta be a Carly thing. Really, I don't know. Maybe we should all try it sometime.
Yeah,
you know. This is what we're going to do for our Christmas episode to Step into the Paranormal. We're going to have you back on.
We're going to have Christmas in a cup.
With Christmas in a cup for everybody.
I got plenty in the counter for everybody. It's not going anywhere. So I had to go get the Pepsodent toothpaste that tastes like Pepsi, because I couldn't stand the mint flavor of my toothpaste. I woke up in the bathtub.
I'm dying.
The behind the scenes of Carly Hall's first paranormal TV show.
15 minutes before Jack came to the apartment, I woke up in the bathtub, and I was like, "Oh my God, where am I? What did I do? What time is it? What day is it?" Like, oh my gosh.
Let me tell you what,
Luckily,
Dave
I
and
got
I,
going 2 hours before they were showing up.
This was on accident.
for Christmas, Carly, Dave and I are going to have you a coffee cup made that says
Christmas.
Carly's Christmas in a Cup. We will design it and have it made and send it to you. I promise.
Yeah. Go right on
Okay.
Vistaprint. They make them right there. They can do them for you on Vistaprint.
Oh, that's amazing.
For
Carly's
about
Christmas
12
in a
bucks.
cup.
Oh, Lord have
I
mercy.
was like, that's my proudest moment right
Soon
there.
as
The
you
biggest Carly moment
Yeah,
I've
through the
ever had.
interview. Yeah,
Soon
I
as
did.
interview.
You know
Peppermint
what? And I honestly probably helped the interview because I looked so traumatized, but I really was just trying not to puke.
Traumatized by that peppermint schnapps and chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Traumatized from the muffin I had that morning because I shouldn't have eaten.
Soon as you mentioned
Very good thing
peppermint
you did.
schnapps, I somehow knew where it was going.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. Now you know the behind the scenes. There you go.
That's
Yes.
cool. Yeah, at least you didn't wake up with somebody else's clothes on in the bathtub. I'm
No,
not going to tell you
that's
that
true.
story, but yes, I've been there. So
Somebody else's clothes. That's good.
yeah, they weren't mine. And they weren't very female.
Dave, let me ask you, did you ever find out whose sundress that was you had on?
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
I was wearing her clothing, and apparently she was wearing mine, and
Oh,
I
well.
had no clue who she was. That was the problem.
Oh, well, hey. That's,
Oh,
well,
interesting.
you know.
Here's the next question, though. You're what, 6'6"?
6'6".
Was her clothes bigger
Not
than yours?
oh yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
It was not a pretty sight. You have to impale your third eye to understand it. So
That's what the alcohol is for.
yeah,
I need some Christmas in a cup after hearing that story.
that's going to be our new mantra, man.
Christmas.
Oh.
We'll get some paranormal
Oh,
activity with
gosh.
that Christmas in a cup thing. We'll have to try that.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
I don't know.
Tell us what you're actually up to these days.
Well, it's not Christmas in a cup, I'll tell you that.
I haven't had much of that since then.
We did go on an investigation just more recently. We got invited to go out to the USS Salem.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. Chris Sanders asked us to come out. Yeah, we were talking about that on our show this past week. So because he had the one photo he took with this blurry arm in front of me. It's kind of weird.
That.
Yeah, we can't explain it because nobody did that. So
And we discovered that real time. Like Chris had taken the picture and looked at it and went, "Oh my gosh!"
and we actually were like,
caught
somebody, waving their arm in front of it. And nope, nobody. No.
Wow.
And we were all looking that direction. So
Yeah.
it's like we would have noticed if someone was raising their or waving their arm.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple people on the other side behind him, but it wasn't them.
Right.
We don't know where that came from. I still say it had to do with the stupid joke I made.
I think it was.
Yeah, it had to do, like, as I was going through that doorway, you go through that doorway, it says crew's mess above the door, right? Because that's where the mess hall is. So I said, well, stupid joke. Yeah, if it's their mess, let them clean it up. Then he took the picture, and we got that.
Well, here's the number one
stop
rule.
with the jokes already. Stop with the stupid jokes.
Let me make sure you understand. The number one rule when you are on board ship is never piss off a mess cook. Never.
True.
No matter what you do, you can tell a chief petty officer to go sit on it and rotate. Do not piss off a cook because they feed you.
Well, interestingly enough, there is a cook in that section that they supposedly make contact with.
Oh, wow.
He plays jokes on him all the time.
Yeah, he plays jokes. So it could very well have been him, and he didn't like my joke. So whatever.
I'm the one making jokes.
What? It worked. You get some activity that way. That's how you kind of
right.
do it in a nice way. You're not instigating, but you are. You're not being mean about it. You're just making a stupid joke.
Jack, so, I got a 2-part serious question for you.
Yeah, sure.
How long have you been either researching or investigating? And was there one specific event or incident that led you in that direction?
Well, I've always kind of been interested in the paranormal and all that stuff. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I was more interested in it. And actually, that story was just recently told on, what was it called? My Paranormal Nightmare, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I told what happened to me back when I was like 17. And I think they say 16 on the show, but whatever, anyway. And I had something that happened to me that made me leave the paranormal altogether. I was freaked out, scared to death, and I turned away from it. I didn't get back into it until Ghost Hunters came out. And I actually had repressed that memory of what happened so bad. I didn't remember it until I was actually watching Zach Bagans' The Demon House.
Right.
Oh God.
And well, that demon that he talks about with the horns and everything, that's
Right.
what I saw. That's exactly what I saw.
Wow.
So I mean, that was, I mean, that thing. I don't think he was joking about having that in a dream. I mean, that's what triggered it. And actually, when I was watching that show, I had to shut it off. I shut it off because it freaked me out.
Oh wow.
The first time, and then I went back and was like, I got to finish watching this to see what really happened with him.
Right.
And what happened with all that. So I did finish watching it like a few days later. But it brought back that memory. The funny thing is, a week later, I get a call to tell my origin story.
Oh,
go figure. You know, all this stuff happens for a reason, right?
For a reason. Absolutely.
So, you know, but yeah, for all those years, from age 17 on, I kind of just pushed that whole memory out of my head and focused on life and my friends and school and everything else. And it wasn't until Ghost Hunters came back out that I remember doing that stuff at one time and, you know, trying to debunk stuff the way they did and stuff like that. So it got me back into it. And that was, I became part of Spirits in New England. They brought me onto their team in 2009. I had met them online when they had, TAPS had the Beyond Reality forum.
Right.
Well, yeah, I was on that with them. I met them on there for, we talked for about 2 years before we finally met at a Ghost Hunters event. And yeah, up at the when they owned the inn up there in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Name of it, but I know what.
I forget the name of myself, but we met there and we all hit it off, and they asked me to be on their team, and so in December 2009, they made me an official member. I've been with them ever since, Spirits of New England. So,
Carly, what
you got? What got you?
Was it one?
What got me into it? Well, so I've had my abilities since I can remember as a little kid. I've never had a negative experience until when I was 13 and my attachments came. Okay. I spent the next 8 to 9 years trying to just survive. Pretty much, my story is on Paranormal Survivor season 5, episode 5, but it's a long story short. I survived for 9 years, and then I met Jack. And once I met Jack and him and his Spirits of New England, they pretty much helped me, and they were the reason why my attachments are no longer with me now. And that drove me into wanting to help people. You know, I want to be the person that I needed when I was going through all that stuff. So that was a huge turning point for me, was meeting Jack and, you know, really starting investigating and helping clients and stuff. So yeah,
my daughter Grace just turned 14, and when she hit 13, she started coming on some of the investigations with us. Yeah. And all of a sudden, she's like, we went to this place called the Princess House, and she says to me, "Dad, someone died upstairs." And I'm like, "Probably." She goes, "No, it was a little boy." And she's sitting there. She's never been in the house. So, and to my knowledge, she doesn't have any abilities. But I'm starting, after what I've seen the last year, she's starting to make me go, she goes, "No, he walked out on a ledge upstairs, slipped and hit the steps." And I'm like, she's never been in this house before. She doesn't know the layout of it. I'm like, "Okay, honey, I think that's kind of impossible, but okay." Well, we went upstairs and we got to the base of the second landing steps, and she goes, "He fell and she has her eyes closed, fell from right up there." And if you look up at the top landing, there is a little ledge about that wide that goes along the stairway. The little kid would probably be very interested. And since she goes, he landed right there.
Didn't she say his name?
She said his name.
She said the name. It was some off the wall name.
Off the wall name.
I can't remember. I mean, I'm not trying, but it sounded like it would have been like an Amish.
Yeah, like an Amish or just
Amish name.
Just an odd name.
And then later on, I think we were using the Phasma box.
Yep.
Haley was with us, and when we asked, I guess who it was,
What do you name? It came across.
Yeah, the same name that Grace came across the Phasma.
I'm like, how the hell does a 13-year-old? I mean, just.
Well, she can be coming into her, she can be starting, because you're doing all this, she can be starting to connect with those abilities now.
Well,
and that tends to be the age, like with teenagers, the hormones and the energy, and it's very chaotic. They lose control. Their abilities are developing into what they're going to be. If she has abilities at that age, they typically cuts off at like 8 or 9 or 10 years old. So when that filter starts to form.
Right.
But when you're 13 or 14 or 15, have you ever heard of teenagers, like when they get really angry, they can pop a balloon or they blow out a light? That's what's happening. Is the energy is chaotic. They can't control it. So their abilities are growing, and so it's spiraling into what is going to develop later on. And so I wouldn't be. She definitely has abilities.
Well, she's
definitely sensitive.
We were doing a session where Ernie was in one room with headset on, listening to the spirit box, and we would ask questions, and he would come out with answers. Right. And Grace started talking out loud to all the equipment, and the equipment was going off, but then Ernie would pop off with the answers to the questions she was asking.
Okay.
And whatever it was, it just seemed centered around her, which it was blowing my mind. So,
if you have a spirit there, it's probably going to be, since it may sense her abilities, it's probably going to try to communicate with her.
It's like a light,
and that can get overwhelming at that age too. So you got to be a little careful with all that, and try to start teaching her how to ground and center herself.
Absolutely,
and to even block that stuff out. Different ways to block those abilities.
I have her associated with SOS Team Paranormal Camp, and
guys are good.
A lot. Making sure that she knows. But even as far as we went to Haldeman, and the kids were asking questions, and we get a little bit of reaction. And they had these colored rings with lights on that they were playing with, passing. And she asked something to the effect of, "Do you like all the colors?" Literally, every piece of equipment around the room that I had set out hit at the same time. And she goes,
so cool.
"You like that, huh?" She goes, "Do you want me to put them in rainbow?" And again, every piece, literally in the Haldeman's bedroom, about 10 feet round?
Yeah.
About 10 feet, and then every piece of equipment.
We've been there. Actually, we're going to be doing an event there in October 3rd.
Yeah.
So, but you're on the second floor, right?
Second floor. As you get to the top of the steps, diagonally to your 2 o'clock position in the bedroom.
Yep.
Jacob is in front of you. Haldeman's here. The bedroom right off of the main, the master bathroom is where I almost broke Ernie's nose, and then there's the changing room.
Oh, geez.
There's a ton of activity in that place anyway, and there is 7 different portals on that second floor.
Is there?
Because I checked. They asked me, because I know how to check for that stuff. They asked me to go around and check because what's her name had a really weird experience there. Was it Melissa?
Melissa, Melissa.
Yeah, she had a really weird experience. So I went and checked. Yeah, there's even one to the upstairs attic.
Yes, we've gotten a lot of. If you actually look on our YouTube channel, Dreama Weber at the time, now it's Dreama King, Mike's wife, was up there with a K2. We had a REM pod. We did about an 18-minute session. And during it, the temperature went from 63 degrees down to, I think, 31 degrees while we were there.
Yep.
Wow.
And literally, you could see your breath coming out.
Yeah, and we had a lot of activity up there ourselves, too. It didn't get cold like that, but we had a lot of K2 hit and other activity going on. Even when we left, we came down the stairs twice. The motion detector alarm.
Oh, nice.
And we were downstairs. We were down on the second floor already. So
the Haldeman Mansion, I can actually say there's no BS there. There is definitely multiple spirits there, but they're not malevolent.
No,
I've never hit anything malevolent there. The only time I've only been scared there twice. One was while we had just we were doing a preliminary sweep in the second floor back near the helps area. Yep. Coming out, we hear. I turn around and look, and there is something right here.
Interesting.
I can prove it. There's footprints right here because I went over Ernie trying to go by.
We were hosting an event there that night, so we were doing a quick preliminary, And to me, like the kitchen door you can come in, Jack,
Yep,
when you
yep.
enter the mansion.
Yep.
It sounded to me like, because we had the keys to the mansion, we opened up for the day. It sounded to me like someone kicked the back door open.
Yeah.
And then when Dave, because we both heard it, and when Dave turned around, is when he saw whatever it was.
It was literally
he saw
right here in my face.
Now he was trying to verbalize and say like what was going on or what he's seen, but like you could see him going like this, but nothing was coming out. It was kind of like he had that, like he was startled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, just so happened,
I wasn't startled. I was scared shit. I have never had anything right here. When you turn and you're like,
Yeah.
I went about 4 feet that way in the air.
But just so happens, I had a FLIR camera in my hand.
Did you?
So I didn't. All I could go by was the direction that he was pointing and looking.
Yeah.
I aimed the FLIR camera there, and I actually, in the archway between the two rooms, it was a
mass.
It was a black mass. It was huge. I mean, taller than Dave.
7-8 feet. Easy.
But you could see the separation from where the head and then the shoulders came out.
And you can even see the armpits.
And it just covered the threshold of the door.
Yep.
It was so amazing. But then that quick, it was just gone.
Gone. Yeah. Yep. That's how it is. That's how it works.
It really. When I finally
remember all the energy that's there. I mean, just down the road, you got, what was it, 3 Mile Island?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, that's still, you've still got all that energy still sitting there.
Yeah. That's a lot of energy to feed off of.
I didn't know until what's his name had told me,
Jerry.
Jerry, that they still monitor that. Those rods are still there.
Yeah,
they never removed.
You're coming across that big bridge. If you look to the right, you can see it.
Yeah. I was like,
right by
there's an old. I didn't realize where I was, so I'm like telling Carly, "Hey, there's an old nuclear power plant. Looks like it's closed." I forgot where I was. I was like, "Oh,
I remember them evacuating us from Odenton, Maryland, because they thought it was going to melt down. I remember that.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know the rods were still in there. They just monitor it.
Yeah, they can't pull them out.
They sealed it all up. Yeah, they sealed it all. So you've got all that energy still there. Yep. Plus you got the river. Plus you got, there's just the you got the land there, which was a lot of Native American stuff going on.
5 different tribes that we know of.
Yeah. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on.
And there's a burial ground right outside the summer kitchen. If you look out the back window, that's an entire Indian burial ground. There's no more digging allowed there ever.
Now, are they know that for a fact? Because Jerry was showing me that back there.
Yeah, they know that for a fact. They Laura, when she was the paranormal director there, has pictures when they were excavating and found.
Oh, okay, cool.
So they should be there somewhere.
Okay, all right. He thought maybe it was in the middle of the field where they weren't. Like you could see where they had plowed around part of the field, but they left the middle. I'm like, I don't think so. I've seen that in regular fields before, so I don't think that was the area. That's where they dump all the garbage.
Back summer kitchen. That's
it's further back. Yeah, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, did they tell you that the Haldeman family cemetery is right down the street?
Yes. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
because that's pretty interesting too.
We've been there.
Yeah, it's literally as soon as you come out on that main road, you bang a right, and it's right down the street on the.
Maybe 300, 200
yards.
Not
unusual. I mean, not unusual for back in those days either.
Right.
And the family usually, a lot of times, they were right on the same grounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it actually is the same grounds, but it's further back. But it's on.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? A lot of times they were just behind where the house was.
Yeah.
Some of these older cemeteries and stuff, family cemeteries, family plots, they called them, right?
Yep.
So yeah. He did tell us about that. I do think there's one thing they talk about in the upstairs in the summer kitchen there, where they're saying this guy was, and it's not Melissa or Jerry telling me this. Somebody else is telling me this, that this guy was a caretaker. He raped women up there and molested.
Oh no, this is in the barn.
No, that was a bar. I thought that was part of the summer kitchen.
Barn. So there was a guy apparently that had kept slave women up there and had raped
something
them.
like that. Yeah.
And so
let me give you my thought up before you say something. And Carly's thought on it. we know that, people get scratched here, women get scratched there. But what we found out, Carly, tell them what you found out they're asking the minute they go in there.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I did, and then I'll tell you like what I found out while we were there. So when I went up to the door, and I was with one other female investigator. She was kind of new to investigating, so I was like, I knocked on the door, and I said, "Hey, I'm coming in, just letting you know." And I opened the door, and I go in. I said, "I'm Carly, and this is, who I forget her name. I'm so bad with names."
That's all right.
But so we go in and I go, "I'm here. I just want to ask you guys I want to ask you some questions. Whoever's here, I want to get to know you. I said, I'm just going to put my K2 here and this." I did formal introductions, got to, introduce a little bit about myself to them, and the other investigator did as well. And so we weren't getting anything. And they never told me anything about this place. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not really feeling anything from the lower floor. And the girl was like, well, let's go upstairs. And she's like, usually we get stuff from upstairs. I said, okay. So I go upstairs, and it felt like someone was definitely there. We just didn't feel alone. We felt like we were being watched. I did not feel anything malevolent at all. It was a human spirit who just was sitting there and watching very intently. And so, I just said, "Hey, I'm Carly. Now that I know you're up here and you can see me, I'm Carly, and this is her. And we just want to get to know you a little bit and ask some questions." And I said, "What's your name? Where are you from? Who are you? Just what do you want to talk about?" And she said that his name was George, I think. And she's like, what we found out was that this guy's name was George, and he kept slave women up here, and he raped them. And then she goes, "What did you do to those women, George?" She goes, how could you do that to those women?" And I'm thinking, whoa, you can't just accuse that man of raping women. Hold on a second. And then I was like, well, maybe she has documents, or they found actual documents that supported this. So I didn't say anything against it because I didn't know the actual history of the place. So I was talking to Jack, and Jack was like, no one ever mentioned that whatsoever.
Yeah, because Jerry and I went up there earlier before, and he never mentioned even anything about that.
So what we're thinking is that
where is this coming from?
Right. We're thinking that these people are accusing this guy, or the investigators are coming, not Melissa or Jerry. The people are coming in investigating the place, accusing this guy of raping women when he never did it. And that's why he's scratching him, saying, no, I didn't do it. Yeah, that was for one. She's like, yeah, we get scratched here all the time. We get poked, and all this stuff happens, and all these nasty EVPs. And I'm like, yeah, because you're accusing the guy.
We had...
Now go ahead. Let's see what you think.
3 different events that we hosted.
Yep.
3 different investigations.
And 3 different mediums with us.
Well, anyhow, during these investigations, when we took the groups to the 2nd floor of the summer kitchen, one of the guests each time got to that window on the 2nd floor of the summer kitchen,
right at the foot of the bed there,
and basically,
I know where you're talking. Yep.
And basically collapsed.
Yep.
Now, we had Dave, myself, and Mike King. We didn't tell anybody the method to our madness.
Okay.
But we had 3 different well-known psychic mediums go there. 3 different occasions.
Okay.
Never told the other one what our intent was.
Right.
And they all told us the same exact story.
Okay.
Without knowing anything about the mansion. Now, the story that we came up with was possibly 3 males gang raped one of the servant girls on the 2nd floor.
On the 2nd floor.
Oh, okay.
She either jumped or was hung like out the window and dropped.
Right. Gotcha.
Now, the funny thing is, one of the events, Mike King was with me. Dave was in the main
I was
mansion.
in the main mansion with my group, and they were over in the summer kitchen.
We had a group up in the summer kitchen, and there was a young girl, maybe 23. She got in like a state of a trance, staring at this window. And me and Mike were kind of like, eyeballing back, kind of nudging like, hey, look at her.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, this girl, for no reason, guys, she just covered her face like this and started crying. I thought something was medically wrong with her. And she's just mumbling on about they're outside,
and just went down like a tree.
Well, what happened was she was just like panicky. I went up, and when I just went to put my hand on her to say, "Hey, you all right? Tell me what's going on."
Right.
When I put my hand on her, it was like somebody chopped her legs out from under her. She hit the floor, and I knew this wasn't an act because when she hit the floor, her head bounced off that wood floor.
Now, we have radios. He called me. I'm a former paramedic.
I got on the radio and I was like, Dave, get over here. We're shutting this down temporarily.
Right.
Mike and I go over, and when we go to grab her, she just pops right back up and she's like, I'm fine. And I'm like, are you sure? She's like, no, I'm fine. Well, I pulled her aside. I said, what did you see? What brought this? She said, I don't know. Something got my attention where I was just concentrating on that window. She said, I saw two men
out in the field straight ahead
standing outside that window. And she described like what they were wearing.
At this point, Mike is running downstairs, cop. I'm running across, meet him at, he's like, Dave, there's somebody out here. He goes left, I go right, and we're looking out into the field behind the summer kitchen, and we see just two black shadows doing this.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm looked at Mike, he looked at me, and I'm like, do you see anything? And he's like, nope. Do you see anything? I'm like, nope. We both
Now, the thing is,
I got a different theory of what's going on, though, but keep going.
Two other events with two other guests that don't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Both guests, when they got near that window,
said the exact
said the same exact. I mean, it wasn't to that dramatic extent where, but they were actually like, man, I feel woozy. My chest is tightening. I feel like I'm about to fall over. But it was only near that window, and it was only younger aged girls.
Well, I did seem drawn. I mean, when I went up there, that window kind of attracts your attention for whatever reason.
Right.
Don't know why. I didn't go over near it or anything like that. But what's possibly going on then, and the reason women are getting, like some people say they're getting scratched, mostly women, stuff like that, is probably the girl that's there.
Right.
It may
and
be.
they're talking about all this stuff, the rape and this. That's upsetting. Somebody, to a spirit that had that happen to them, they're going to be, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to know about it. And since it's always women, it would tell me that female spirit is connecting to them, to the females.
Right.
Because she was probably around that age or younger or whatever, but she's connecting, trying to either communicate through them or communicate to them what happened to her. But that would explain why, they go up there and start accusing this George of raping women. And this individual they don't want to relive that.
I agree. I don't know I haven't heard of the George before this.
We were told that from somebody down there.
Now,
that was what she said the name was, the other investigator that was up there with me.
Yeah.
Now, I think, you have that, what may have occurred in the summer kitchen or what have you.
Right.
Now, if you separate that for a moment from the main mansion, I think all the spirits are the same time period.
Yes.
But I think between the summer kitchen and the main mansion, I think it's two different. Yeah, I think it's two different things going on.
It would seem so, right?
Now, one thing, just so you know, put something on the steps leading up to the top floor of the summer kitchen. Within 2 minutes, whoever it is that's there doesn't like things on the steps. They will try to move it.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that makes sense.
Throw a REM pod there and watch what happens.
I always put a motion sensor like in the windowsill, facing up the steps. And it's funny because you will actually, and this week we got many recordings of this, you'll actually hear footsteps above you, and then that light will come on.
Oh, that's
okay.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I've got a couple. I got a couple motion sensors, so I could.
We'll have to do that when we're over there in October.
Yeah, I got a couple other. I got another little device I could think of to put on the stairs there
It's
too.
a good location though. It's definitely active. I'm excited to
Yeah,
investigate
it
some
is.
more.
Yeah, it's a very active
Well,
location.
I took my nephew there and handed him a Mel meter and told him about that. I said, go stick it on the steps and watch. We're going to count down 2 minutes. And within 2 minutes, it's the Mel started just going off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I've got that same one you're talking about, the one that's got the REM pod built into it and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Jack, Carly, before we let you guys go, tell everyone where they can find you and put out your information and all that good
already?
stuff. Yeah, man, we're
Is
like,
it really? Wow.
yeah,
oh my God.
yeah.
You're bad as our show. It's over before you know it. You know,
I think
we could just find. I mean, the simplest way to find us is right on Facebook. I mean, just look us up. You know, or you can watch our own show Tuesday nights, 7 start at 8 to 9, right?
How do they find you? How do they find you?
Paranormal Q&A. Well, just go to facebook.com/JackNY45.
Oh, Pam Barry just came in and said hi, guys.
Hey, Tony said hi. You can also check us out through my webpage, which is jackkenna.org. But we have our paranormal Q&A every Tuesday night from 8 to 9. So,
Which these guys are going to be on, by the way.
yeah,
on Facebook. Actually, we're now live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope all at the same time.
I was going to say, tell them who's going to be on your show September 8th.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Carly.
These guys are going to be on our show September 8th.
That's
It's
right.
going to be awesome. You should join in.
I tell you what happened tonight. I think we lost like a, I don't know if it was like some type of portal or time warp, but with that Christmas in a cup, I think I lost
I'm done with that.
I think I lost about 8 minutes of my life, man. Because I can't even remember, but
Christmas
I felt like I couldn't breathe.
I think that made me lose a couple of years off of my life, honestly. But
we're gonna have a December show, and you're going to get a Christmas in a cup from us, and you're going to.
I can't wait.
Just to let you guys know, we will actually, as of right now, we'll be back down in the Gettysburg area second weekend of September. So
awesome.
So
if you want to get together and hang out or something, let us know.
Just get in touch with us, and we'll meet you up there.
We'll meet you up there.
Yeah, we'll be staying at the Lookout House.
That's Miss Pam just said.
Yes. We'll be there, and we'll be hanging around in Gettysburg and all that. We'll be there for a long weekend. Let's put it.
Wait. When you go to the Lookout House, bring 2 pencils with you. And Pam will show you the room to go into. Put the pencils cross on top.
Yep.
I actually made a yes/no wheel, but speak to the spirits. They will move the pencils for you. There's an entire YouTube video.
I don't even need that. We've been there before. I stayed in the Americana room. We had the
we were
right through the room.
We were there with you. What the hell's wrong with him?
I'm senile. What?
No, this was even before that. We had our team just go down there. We had the whole place for ourselves for a whole weekend.
It really is.
We had a spirit walk right through our room, right in the Americana room.
And I slipped through it.
Had the footsteps walk right through.
That's where I saw it. That's where Jeff Leeper saw it, and our friend Evelyn saw it. That's the same exact.
Right up there.
I didn't see it, but I heard it walk all the way from one end of the attic to the other, come down the stairs, open the door, close the door, and walk right through the room.
Wow.
I love the Lookout House.
Stop right next to me at the bed.
Jack was actually doing a radio show while we were there investigating, and I'm literally like pacing around the room because we can hear footsteps in the attic, and we know no one's up there, and he's just like, shh. Because we're doing the interview, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm trying to ignore it. I'm ignoring it, Carly. I know what's going on. We're on an interview. So
you're like me, Carly. It's like, I hear it. Let's go.
I know nobody's up there, but I can hear the footsteps. Yes.
Just send us a reminder, one of you guys, when you guys are up there. We'll meet you.
We'll
meet you up there. At least stop and say hi and grab something to eat with.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll message you when we're coming.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys. We can't even tell you how much we appreciate you spending Sunday night with us, man.
Yeah, the honor is ours. The honor is all ours.
And we will be with you all on September 8th. So everybody listening or watching, check out Paranormal Q&A with Jack and Carly, and we will be their guests that night. It's a Tuesday night.
Same bat time, same bat. Oh, I can't do that. It's copyrighted.
Is it? Oh, my God.
Be in touch, man. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good night.
You too. Dave? I think I laughed off 10 pounds.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Christina said it was a fun show. Thank you, Christina. We love you.
Hey,
Pam, we love you as well. And guys, if you want a really good room that has some really cool hauntings, reach out to Pam Berry, Steve Berry, Pam Berry. Love them to death. The Lookout House is just amazing to go to.
Amazing.
There's nothing beyond the words amazing. I mean, just incredible, amazing.
You know what's amazing about it? It's only an hour and 15 minutes from where I live.
Giggity. All right.
We got some cool upcoming shows. Let me think. I'll just talk about 3 of them real quick. I'm not going to give exact dates yet. But our next shows, we have a really good friend of ours that we were in West Virginia with a few years ago. She has organized an all-female paranormal group.
Ooh.
And we're going to have her on to talk a little bit about that. Our friend Bill Reap from Reap Investigations. Everyone knows Bill. He's going to be joining us in an upcoming episode. And check this out.
I mean, John McKenna just said the Lookout House never disappoints. I 100% agree.
Check this out, man. I know you've all watched the Holzer Files with Dave Schrader and Cindy. And love that show. I love those old cases. And when you talk about the Holzer Files, or back when like Ed and Lorraine Warren were investigating, and Amityville, I love that old stuff. But anyway, our dear friend April, you've seen her on Holzer Files. She will be joining us live on Step Into the Paranormal on September, I believe it's 27th. It's already set. Just old age. I got to check the calendar. But April 27th, we're going to have April on. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. She's amazing. You're going to love it. So, got anything before we sign off?
No. For those people that have been monitoring, since Ernie and I did the investigation, the impromptu here, we identified who and what it was. I can't really say who and what it was till after certain things happened in my life in October, but we'll post that later. We actually had a psychic medium call me up the next day and give me the exact what you determined what it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's incredible. So
see, man, I do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But the activity has pretty much stopped except for a few knocks every now and then.
I have our new slogan.
Oh, Lord.
Carly, I hope you're still watching.
Christmas in a cup.
Come join Paranormal Inc., where there's always Christmas in a cup. Good night, guys. We love you.
Love you guys.
See you in 2 weeks.
Peace.
You've been listening to Step Into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests, right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.